Well, it's not the prettiest thing you're ever going to have around your house, but this do-it-yourself mosquito trap actually does work. I live in a small village in the Sierra Madre Mountains in Mexico. Mosquitoes can be a real problem once we get to the rainy season. I haven't been able to keep them out of the house, but using 3 of these traps in 3 locations inside the house has proven to be an effective control. I know that this design, it's certainly not mine, but I know it has been posted in various places, and there are always comments saying it doesn't work. All I can say is that it works very well for me. I suspect some people have not followed the instructions or maybe have taken some shortcuts. So a few important points before we get started. First, use brown sugar. White sugar is too refined. It will ferment too quickly to be useful. Brown sugar, the closer to raw, the better. Dissolve the sugar in boiling water. You want to allow it to boil until all the sugar is dissolved. The idea here is you're creating a syrup. Use dry yeast. You can't skip this step, I'm sorry. The yeast is necessary. It's essential for the process. Allow the syrup to cool before adding the yeast. That's important because if it's too warm, it will ferment too quickly. Don't mix the yeast into the syrup. Just allow it to float on top. Same reason, you don't want it to ferment too fast. And don't wrap the trap in paper. I know some articles have suggested wrapping it in black paper. I don't think this helps at all, and it might even have a negative effect on the trap's effectiveness. Don't expect to see dead mosquitoes clustered around the rim of the trap. Most are going to fall into the syrup when they die. You'll see them when you clean out the trap for refilling. Okay, the basic idea is mosquitoes are attracted to carbon dioxide, which is what we breathe out. And one of the byproducts of fermentation is carbon dioxide. So this trap uses fermentation to attract mosquitoes, then traps them inside until they die. They can make their way in through the little hole in the top. They can't find the hole to get back out. They die and fall into the syrup. So what are you going to need to do this? Well, you're going to need 1 plastic 2-liter Coca-Cola bottle. Other soda bottles might work, but the shape of the Coke bottle, narrowed as it is in the middle, is ideal. Knife and scissors so you can cut it. Duct tape to secure it. A pot for boiling. A 1/2 cup of brown sugar. A 1/2 cup of water. And 11 grams of active dry yeast. That's about a tablespoon. I'm fortunate I can get it in these a box of 5 11-gram packets. Works out perfectly. Okay, instructions. Using your knife and scissors, cut the soda bottle a little more than halfway from the bottom to make sure that you've got adequate space for the syrup and the yeast. Bring the water to a boil and dissolve the sugar into the boiling water. When the sugar is dissolved completely, remove the pot from the heat. Allow the syrup to cool under 90 degrees Fahrenheit. A simple way to test this is if it feels cool to the touch, it should be fine. Your body is 98.6, so if it feels cool to you, it's below 90, or roughly. It shouldn't be tepid, shouldn't be hot, but cool to the touch. And if you want to, you can put it in the fridge to speed the cooling. Now pour the cooled syrup into the bottom part of the soda bottle. Then gently pour the dry yeast on top of the syrup. Don't mix it in, just allow it to float on top. Invert and place the cut top of the soda bottle into the bottom. Then secure the 2 pieces together with a strip of duct tape. Now it's done. Place the trap where mosquitoes have been a problem and empty and refill the trap when bubbles no longer form in the syrup. And that's about 2 weeks. And what that means, if bubbles are no longer forming, fermentation is no longer going on, gas is no longer being produced, it's no longer working. And it takes about 2 weeks. Basically what you're doing is you're making a syrup, and then you're fermenting the syrup into a kind of a mead. For God's sake, don't drink it. But the process of fermentation releases carbon dioxide. Mosquitoes are attracted to carbon dioxide. They get in the trap, they can't get out. Give it a shot. It works for me. Thanks a lot for listening.